Welcome back. As most of you know, a few months ago I changed up my opening, and I started playing the English opening, which is 1c4. And today I remembered that there's a feature on Lichess that I haven't taken advantage of for a while, and that is puzzles by opening. The puzzles are divided and organized into what opening that those positions arose from, and they have a section for the English opening. So I'm going to try to work on those today as part of my normal chess development, and I'll solve as many puzzles as I can in the time allotted to me. But speaking of openings, one really good way to study them is today's sponsor, chessbook.com. It's just like studying an opening book, except it's tailored to fit you. The core idea of the site is to help you build a bulletproof opening repertoire. You choose the opening, and instead of studying a ton of obscure grandmaster lines that your opponents won't play against you, the site uses your rating and shows what people at your level will actually play against you. You set your goals, and chessbook.com keeps track of your progress. For each move in your opening, chessbook.com will show you the stockfish evaluation for every move. It'll show you what masters tend to play in those positions, and it'll show the results of games that were played by people at your level. And you can look at all that information and choose your next move. There are thousands of annotations by strong chess players explaining the ideas behind the common moves of the opening. The site uses a spaced repetition system and allows you to review your repertoire from most common lines to least common, so you can be prepared for the positions that you'll face. You can import your existing repertoire from a PGN file, or use your Lichess games as a starting point. Once you connect your account, they'll even keep track of your online games. So when you come back to chessbook.com, they'll show you the mistakes that you made in those games. You also have the option to play through master games that started from the same opening lines that you chose. So you could see how a strong player handles the middle game and end game positions that arise from those lines. And the site also generates an openings report, showing which opening lines work best for you and which ones need work. With apps for both Android and iPhone, you can work on your openings anytime, anyplace. So do yourself a favor and visit chessbook.com. I will say that I checked out the site on my free time before they decided to sponsor this video, and I gave it a positive review. I think I'm going to keep going back. It's free to try. They also have the option of a free account or a paid account. And I'll just leave that up to you, but let's get back to the video. I know this isn't cropped perfectly because I've already cropped the screen to fit a puzzle when we get there, but here on Lichess, if you go to your puzzles dashboard on the website, over in the left column, there's an option, Puzzles by Opening. When you click that, you can scroll down to whatever opening that you play. And because I've been playing the English opening, I have scrolled down to that, and there are a bunch of different variations. Some of the openings have a lot more variations than this. According to the databases on different sites, what I've been playing resembles the Carls Bremen system. So I'm going to click that and try to solve some puzzles. It says there's over 400 puzzles just from the Carls Bremen system, and I'll try to solve as many as I can, and I might try a couple of these others before the video's over. So let's just click that. Okay. Well, it has me playing with the black pieces, which doesn't help as much as I was hoping because I play the English as white. I don't think you can play it as black. I mean, without the opponent playing c4 first. So anyway, let's look at our checks. I have knight checks. I think I have 3 knight checks. I mean, this is almost the same, right? I think either one of those, the pawn would take, and then I could take with the other knight and it would still be check, but then the king could just move forward or back and they would be out of check. And my other knight check is up here on f3, which they can take 2 different ways or just move out of check. Let's see, if I took here and they took with the bishop and I took with my bishop, they would take with their rook and then I would have lost 2 pieces for 1, except that the knight wouldn't be where it is now. When you move a piece, it's not where it was anymore. Sounds simple, but we often forget that. We think of where it's going to be, but we forget that it's also not in the space where it was, and that space was blocking my rook from seeing their queen. So that one might be it. But that would also be the case with this knight to g5, the e knight to g5. What would be the difference there? Okay, so these are my 2 candidate moves, because either way I'm thinking I would take their queen with my rook on the next turn. Because let's see, my opponent has 4 minor pieces and I only have 3. And we both have both rooks and a queen and a number of pawns. I think I might be 1 pawn ahead here. And I'm definitely leaning toward it being this knight, one of those 2 checks, because the knight's under attack by the pawn. So let's say that I check here on g5. They take it with the pawn. Let's just assume they would do that. I take their queen with my rook. They take my rook. And then I can take that pawn back with check. So I would have lost a knight and a rook for a queen and a pawn, only going up 2 points of material, which, if I counted right, is how much I'm down right now, so it would have just evened the score. So I don't know if that's it. Okay, what about the knight checking up here on f3? I assume they would take with the bishop, not with the rook, because then they wouldn't have anything to take my rook back with. So let's say knight to f3 check. They take with the bishop, so they're not in check anymore. I take their queen. I assume they would take back with their rook. And once they did that, then I take their bishop with my bishop. So I've gone up a queen and a bishop for the knight and the rook. I think that's it. I'm going to try that. Oh, that was it. Well, I'm going to take the queen then and the bishop. Okay. Oh, it says I got, wait, am I reading that right? I got 31 points for that. I saw it up in the left column, which I've cropped off the screen so you can see the puzzle better. But you see it in the little box down here at the bottom. 31 points. I usually on Lichess I get about 4 or 5 points per puzzle. Well, good for me. Okay, let's go to the next one. Maybe I'll get one with the white pieces, which is where I normally see the English. Oh no, I got the black pieces again. Okay, this isn't going to be as helpful as I thought it was. Well, I have a couple of choices here. 3 choices, I think. Can get out of check, which is my first instinct. Or I could take the knight with my queen, which that seems really bad because, or I could take the knight with the pawn, which would be threatening the bishop, but it would leave my queen, my king open here. Let's see, if I take with the pawn, what are they going to play next? Are they going to save the bishop? What else is going on this board? Well, our queens are facing each other, so I assume at some point we're going to trade our queens. But I'm pretty sure this is the worst of the 3 options, is taking the knight with my queen, because they would take back and I would have lost my queen for 2 pieces, 2 minor pieces, and I would have my king opened up. This way, I would start with my king opened up, but their bishop would be in trouble and have to step back 1, I assume, and then what would I do? Take their queen, and when they take back, either way, I would pick up their knight. Well, moving over doesn't, have any of those effects, I don't think. I think in that case, they would probably just move their knight someplace, maybe not there, but maybe here, threatening my queen with the bishop. In which case, I would take their queen, and when they took back, I would take their knight, and they would take my knight, and I would take their... But I don't know that that's what they would do. This doesn't force any of that. So I'm thinking it's taking with the pawn. We'll find out. Oh, it was that. Oh, and I didn't even think they could go here and threaten my rook. Well, they did, though. I'm still thinking to take their queen because right now the queen's the only thing defending their knight. But let's see. They still have 3 minor pieces. I have 3 minor pieces where everything else is equal except my king is opened up. Okay, so if I take their queen, they're probably going to take back. I don't know. Let's say they do it with this rook to get their rook out of the corner. Then when I take their knight, both of their rooks are in danger. I don't know. At that point, would they save their rook and then take mine? I don't know, but that's what I'm going to try. Oh, they'd move that rook. Okay. Well, then I'm going to take the free knight. If they take my rook, I'll take back with the other rook. Oh, okay. It stopped there. Am I ahead? Okay, I'm ahead right now, I think, because I just picked up the extra minor piece. And if they take my rook, I'm going to take theirs. And if they take back, I'm going to take back. Okay, so I think I understand that one. I'm going to try one more of these, and if it doesn't give me the white pieces, then I'm going to switch over to a different variation of the English opening. Yeah, it did not give me the white pieces, so I will do this puzzle or try to, and then I'll switch to a different variation because, again, I don't need practice with the English as black, not nearly as much as I do with white. Okay, let's see what's going on. The first thing I look for in puzzles is checks. I do have a check here. I assume they would just take back, then my bishop would be in trouble, and my rook is hanging. Not really hanging, but the exchange is hanging. There's a check there, but oh, that one's not bad. I like that one because it prepares a discovery here. I don't think they'll take, because my bishop then would take their queen and threaten their rook. So I think they'll move out of check. Where will they move out of check? They have 2 choices, right? The corner or G2, H1, G2. And either one of those I can check again, discovering the attack of the bishop on the queen. So if they take, I get their queen for the knight, and then I'll later go down this exchange with my rook down here on F6. But assuming they won't take, they move out of check. Then if they come up to G2, I check again on F4 and win their queen on the next turn. And if they went to H1, then I could capture the pawn on G3 and win the queen on the next turn. So I'm going to try that. I'm not going to, look for everything else. I think that's it. They did take with the queen. Well, that makes this one easy. And then they took my rook, and I'm in check, so I have to take back. I can't, take their rook. And if I don't, if I just move my king, they'll get my queen. So I've got to take here. Oh, and I got 32 points for that one. Very nice. That was a little disconcerting that it kept giving me the black pieces because I wanted to study this as white. So I'm going to go back to here. Was there a setting at the top of this page or something that says, no, there's no place to choose. I just want to play with the white pieces or anything like that? It does say openings I played the most in rated games, and it doesn't list the English at all, but that must be taking into account my entire time on Lichess, because it does have the Caro-Kann defense as number 1. It has the Sicilian defense listed here too, but I'm sure I haven't played that as much as the English. That's really interesting. Back down here to the English, I'm going to just try the King's English variation and see how that works. It gave me the black pieces again. Okay, over on the side, in the left column, there's a spot that it has color selection, but I have it selected to be random, but I need to select it to as white. So I'm going to click that and see if it does anything. Oh, it gave me a new puzzle. Maybe that's what I should have done the whole time. Okay, I'm going to go back to the Carls Bremen system, and now it has white selected. Okay, that's what I was looking for. I didn't know that that's what that would do. I thought the random one would give me white half the time. Well, we're not going to consider checks in this one because there are no checks, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so that makes it easy. We're going to consider captures. I can take the bishop with my bishop, and I assume they would take with their queen, and then nothing's guarding that knight down there. But what if I take the knight first and they take, then nothing's guarding the bishop? So how do I know which one's better? I think this one's better because it's more forcing. It's pointed at the queen. Whereas this one's not pointed at the queen, and they wouldn't have to take back. They could just take my bishop right then. Oh, but then I could take their rook, but then they could take my rook, and then if I took back, they would take back. Okay, so I think taking the bishop first is better because it's pointed at the queen, so it's more forcing. I think. Okay, that was it. Well, then it's got to be taking the knight because that's the only reason I considered that. I just really don't like their queen being that close. Okay, it was that. Okay, good. All right, and hopefully it'll remember my selection because that color selector is not available on the left column anymore. So hopefully my next one will show up with the white pieces. It did. Okay, I got it sorted out. All right, again, let's look for checks first. Don't have any. Okay, so we're going to look at captures. That's not free because this knight would take back. And is that my only capture? Yeah, that's my only capture. Okay, so what do I do once they take back? I don't know. What about threats? I could threaten their rook, but I don't know where it would go. Or they might just block with the pawn. Probably not, because that pawn wouldn't be protected after this exchange, and then I could just take the pawn. Okay, so where do they put the rook if I make this threat? They only have 2 choices, so maybe that's not a very good threat. Oh, what about this threat? Playing e4 threatens that knight. The knight on d5, so then they might move it. I assume they would move it, and then I would get the bishop for free? Maybe. I don't know where all my other, where my queen went or these other pawns. I'm missing a whole bunch of pawns. Okay, I'm going to play e4 because it gets rid of that knight and lets me take the bishop for free, I think. Oh, they moved the bishop. I didn't expect that. Well, now I should just take the knight with the pawn, right? Oh, okay. All right, well, I'm doing pretty well on these, and I've only used up, on my end, less than 20 minutes, so I'm going to keep going. All right, they have forked my knight and my rook here. Well, I could just take the knight, but if I just take the knight, they have 3 ways to take back, and that would be an even exchange. What else can I do? I can get the rook out of danger, but that's never the answer to a puzzle. Wait, I forgot to look for checks. Do I have any checks? No, I don't have any checks. Okay, so we're going to look at captures. There's that, but as we said, that's an even exchange, and then I save the rook. That's not the answer because it's a puzzle. What else can I capture? I can capture this knight, but then they're going to take my rook, I assume. And if I take back, then they're going to get, 8 points of material for 6, I think. Okay, any other captures? Well, I can capture this 2 different ways, but that would be silly, right? The same thing basically there. What else? Okay, I can take this pawn, which I almost didn't see, and it would be protected by the knight, which is in turn protected by this c-pawn, and it would be threatening their queen. Their queen only has a couple of spaces, so maybe this is about a trapped piece. I think its only safe move would be over here to A5, and then I could bring my bishop back, and then where would it go? Then its only safe move would be no, that's not safe either. I think it's taking the pawn and threatening their queen. Because they really only have 2 choices. One is just to take, in which I would take back. The other choice that they have is to try to scoot out here, but I can counteract that with the bishop back here to d2, and then their queen is toast. So I'm going to take the pawn with the rook. Oh, it did move. Well, then the only reason that I really was convinced of that was because I knew I could trap the queen here. Let's do that. Oh, and it took it. Okay, well, I got that. I understand. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, Now this has happened to me a bunch in the English since I started playing it, is the queen and the bishop get it lined up in a battery and go right over here to h3. Sometimes my h-pawn is still on its home square, sometimes it's up there, sometimes it just got captured here. But almost always, Stockfish tells me not to take, wait for them to take me and I'll take back. But very recently in a game analysis, it said no, go ahead and take. The problem with taking is that their queen takes and then their queen's right there next to my king. So what other options do I have here? Do I have any checks? Let's look for that. I do. No, that's not a check. I do have a check. That's the only one, I think. And I'm pretty sure they would just take it. Oh, and in this case, my queen's also protecting my bishop, so I don't have to take back with my king. I could take back with my queen. Okay. Yeah, that's my only check, and I don't think that's good. Do I have any threats or captures besides this? I mean, I'm not going to capture their d-pawn right now, pretty sure. Okay, I could put the knight on g5, which threatens mate, but I think they would just take the knight. This time the only difference is I could take back. If I took the bishop and they put their queen there, and then I hopped the knight in here, the knight's threatening their queen, but still they would take it, take back, and then their queen is sitting right there, and nothing's protecting my g-pawn. My. Wow, I don't have any idea. I have no idea. I'm going to play knight to g5, and then when it tells us that that's wrong, then we'll find out why, because I've used my criteria. Checks, captures, threats. Nothing makes sense. So yeah, that wasn't it. What was it? View the solution. It was taking the bishop, and it says puzzle complete. Well, Lichess, it's not complete. I remember I used to run into this a lot back when I did more puzzles on Lichess, and that was one reason, one thing that discouraged me from doing puzzles here, because it's such an obvious... Not a typo, they intentionally put puzzle complete in there when it's not. How do we replay that puzzle? You can click on the serial number. Okay, so it was taking here. Yeah, see, it's not complete. They're going to take back. Well, now what do I do? Now is it this? No. Now it's the other knight. What? And it says complete, but we know it's not complete. So start over, take here, put this knight on f5. Oh, it was complete that time. What? Well, no wonder I couldn't solve that puzzle, because even after I know the answer, I don't understand. I just traded a bishop. And yeah, I'm defending this, and attacking the bishop, but the bishop's just going to move someplace. Maybe here. Well, I don't understand that one at all. All right. Well, hopefully I'll understand this one, because that last one eluded me. I have no idea what the answer was. I mean, I know what the answer was now, but I have no idea why or what it accomplished. Let's look at checks. That's not a check. I don't have any checks, right? I have captures. I can capture the bishop. Assume they would capture back, and then I could capture here with check. They would take, and that's it. Okay. I can capture here, but think they would just take. Or I can capture over there, which threatens their rook. The knight capturing on h7 threatens the rook on f8. I'm also practicing saying the names of the squares, but they could just take with the king. They might not. If they did take with the king, I could check with my rook, my queen, but then the king just escapes and haven't accomplished anything. What if it's putting it there now, threatening mate? Yeah, what if I put the queen there first, but then they just play h6? If they played h6, that removes one of the defenders of their knight. So then I could take the bishop, and when they took back, nothing's defending the knight. I could take the knight with my queen and be threatening mate again. Or actually, I'd probably take this rook at some point there. I really don't know. I'm going to try that. Oh my goodness, I thought I was going to fail that one. That was a big surprise when I didn't fail it. Okay, well then, the reason that I did it is because I thought I could take the bishop, removing the defender, and then I would take the rook. No, would I take the knight first or the rook first? I don't know. I'm going to take the bishop though. Okay, now the question is, do I take the free knight or no, because if I take the rook, the knight gets away. Okay, I'm going to take the knight, threatening mate with the bishop. I mean, helped by the bishop, right? I'm threatening mate on g7. Okay, I did get that one, even though I was pretty sure I was going to fail. Okay, well that makes me feel better because the one before I didn't understand at all. I have time for at least one more, depending on how fast I get it. Well, my queen's in danger. Do I have any checks? No, it looks like I'm going to have checks in none of these. Actually, I think I had check in the first one. Well, my queen's in danger. Should probably move it, but captures. I can capture the bishop. That's bad. I can capture the knight. Also bad, pretty sure. Any other captures? No. Oh, their queen. I almost didn't see that. That's embarrassing. Wait, no, I should take their bishop. Now that I see that I'm going to take their queen, I should just take their bishop. If they take back mine and I get their queen and I got an extra piece out of that. Oh no, but then my knight's hanging, right? Once their pawns. Okay, so yeah, if I take here, they take back and I take their queen, then they get my knight too. And we're even. Okay, so what if I take their queen first? And if they take my queen, I get the bishop this way. Okay, I think that's it. Oh, nice. Leaving me room for one more puzzle. Okay, wow, that forked my queen and rook, but my bishop can capture it. But then their bishop will capture. Wait, I could take their bishop first, which forks their queen and rook. And then if they take my queen, I'll take their queen. And then if I take my knight, I'll take my knight, but I come out a bishop ahead, right? Because right now we all have 4 minor pieces. Yeah, right now we're even on material. Oh no, they're up a pawn. Okay, we're even on material, mostly. If I capture here, I'm up a bishop. They take the queen, I take the queen. They take my knight, and I take their knight. Yeah, I'm going to take the bishop. Oh, they just took my knight back. Oh, well now the bishop's not guarding their knight anymore, so that made it easy. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I apologize that it took me several minutes at the beginning of the video to get the colors sorted out, because I definitely didn't want to practice the English puzzles from Black's point of view, because I think that's like the 4th or 5th most common opening that I face with the black pieces. 90 to 95% of the time, I see E4 and D4. But with the white pieces, I'm playing the English in every game, so that's why I wanted to study it with white. But I'm glad I got that figured out. Also, don't forget to check out chessbook.com. I'm glad they decided to sponsor one of my videos, and the whole point of them doing that from their perspective is, you know, to get some of you to go check it out. But I think it would be worth it. It'll at least be worth trying. Thanks for spending your time here, and I'll see you next time.